Coming to Unite the Light Nashville, your favorite Serious Joy cast members and executives join the group of esteemed Unite the Light presenters as they deliver powerful mini-segments that propose innovative solutions in their respective fields of expertise. Take away insider industry tips, consider new perspectives, and connect with the possibilities. In-person and live stream tickets are now available at unitethelight.love. That's unitethelight.love.
Coming from marketing, what would you say, first of all, is one of the flaws that we see in marketing right now? Or what is marketing missing currently?
I think it's missing that energetic connection. There's that bridge that needs to be done. I find that it's been hard for us to translate our daily practices and devotions into the marketing world, because we see it as something that we want to manipulate and persuade, and we're not fully connecting the heart. So that's where you see. But these days, when there's so many tools and there's so much AI, and you can do marketing, any level of marketing right now, and then you start hearing, and it's not a coincidence, about authenticity. This authenticity, in my opinion, and at least for us light workers and light walkers, comes from really knowing yourself. And I believe that's when astrology, human design, and other modalities are crucial to help us translate that we are, or the potential. Sometimes we're not fully there, but the potential of that we know that we are, into that daily practice, into the way that we are expressing ourselves, and making it something that is as sacred as any of our other practices.
Hello, welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the twinkling light workers and the magical soul capitalist influencers of our time. We're in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the eve of Unite the Light, folks. And I'm super excited tonight to have a person on the show that I so admire. In fact, it's because she sort of solves a lot of problems. Back in 2006, when I was an astrologer, and I was the first astrologer to go live on YouTube, by the way, it was like the Wild West, trying to tell people where I was, who I was, what I was doing. I would tell people, hey, come on my YouTube show and take a look. I'm a stand-up astrologer. And they look at me and they go, what's YouTube? Because actually before YouTube. So it was really hard. And marketing is difficult. And lightworker customers are hard to find, because how do you look at a sea of people and you know suddenly which one is on the ascension path, which one's on the ascension path? None of the Google issues have, search engines allow for that. So marketing to us, the light workers, is very difficult because we sort of blend in very easily and look and don't stand out in certain ways. So I'm looking forward to talking to her about that. It took a long time to position myself on camera, to market myself. And we have tonight an expert who's also a presenter at Unite the Light, who's going to give you some insight to how her genius 5D mind is working. But first, we need to talk about our sponsor tonight. I bet you can guess what it is. It's Unite the Light. We go live in 24 hours. And by the way, you can still buy streaming tickets and get in the morning. We have staff on standby. I hope to see you there. It's going to be exciting. Let's take a look at some clips to kind of get you more into it. Wow, that makes me proud of what we're doing here at Unite the Light. In fact, that channel panelist that we're talking about is the first panel of the day on Sunday, May 18th. And that day is actually filled with intelligence and all sorts of getting deep with it. I'm excited for it too. But tonight's guest, however, is going to be in the opening day. Meli Garcia, who markets herself as a creative relaunch BFF for mystics and multi-passionates, she offers creatives turn their gifts into and offers into things built out of AI, systems that help the heart's process. In her method, CREA, sorry about that, she blends human design, voice work, and soulful strategy to help you launch a lightworker business and be the person you're meant to be on camera or elsewhere. I'm very proud to announce tonight Meli Garcia is one of our featured presenters at tomorrow's Unite the Light Summit here in Nashville, Tennessee. So please, let's get to know her and just find out why I love her so much. Please do some warm love and laughter and some gratitude to our guest tonight, Meli Garcia, Step 24, Sagittarius. Hi.
Hello. Hi, Sensei.
Good to see you. You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, always shines. And she's, there's so much to talk about, but, let's first talk just about Unite the Light, because that's actually how we met, right? So you were at Unite the Light last year, and, I was impressed by immediately because you were coming from Colombia for the event. And so we were, we saw that and we were stunned. The staff was like, oh, we got to really roll the carpet out. Tell us about the first year. Did it meet your expectations, and how did you walk away from it?
It exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
The first time I heard on Serious Joy that it was happening, I knew I had to come. So I bought the tickets, I think, immediately when they opened. And when I got there, I've been to conferences and I thought it was going to be great. But it was something beyond a conference. It was really like a growth experience. And I had all my notes. Everything that I learned there, I've put it into practice this year. Not only it's been useful knowledge, but it's been an experience that showed me that it's possible to be in that feeling, and it's possible to share with people that have the same goals. So it was like a portal.
Yes.
It was beautiful. I made friends. I reconnected with friends, and I didn't want to go to the normal world after the fact, it was hard, but it was such a beautiful experience.
Oh, wow. That's so well said. Thank you for pointing out so many things that I ignore, which is not true. I mean, there's a high there, and it's hard to describe. But for me, it was just like, nothing's wrong and never will be. That's what it feels like. I'm convinced nothing will ever be wrong again. And I'm in this bubble of this positivity, and I'm not like hyper positive. Like sometimes I get, excited as a kid. I get an asthma attack. I freak out. I'm like shaking. This is a very calm, grounded, hallelujah kind of feeling. I don't, never felt it before in my life.
Me either.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I'll say, walked away from that event with ideas that they're actually manifesting right now. In fact, that book commercial tonight and that whole direction, I mean, she has an idea. It's not the book one. It's a different one. But she's already manifesting it, and she was just a guest last year. So to me, it's this like an expediting of your goals, right?
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So thank you for that endorsement, by the way. Appreciate it. Firsthand, people have to hear it from others, because it's really the biggest reason why you should go, frankly. Forget anything we're doing. Is like just to be in connection like that and to witness 5D, sort of, I think, is what we did, is pretty incredible. But you were so incredible. I right away was like, we have to hone in on what you're doing, because I was privy to it. She's a diamond, so she studies. I consult for her on that level, and so I was aware, having like how genius she was and what she's going to do for the world. So I was just waiting for you to hatch. But tell us tomorrow, like, what are you presenting tomorrow on Saturday? You're the final speaker, by the way, and there's a reason for that. Setting them off with something to really think about all night.
Yeah, well, that's a big responsibility, and I'm excited for it. I'm going to talk about how to build systems that help us share our gifts and translate them into offers that hopefully are irresistible. Because as you were saying at the beginning, for us light workers, it's sometimes a challenge to distill that into something that anyone can understand. And that perfect moment when somebody is deciding whether or not to buy something from you, that moment where they have, their hand on their wallet, that's what we want to do. We create beautiful things, and we know about them because we feel them, and we know the impact that it has had in our lives, our practices, our modalities. But I think the challenge is to translate this into something that we can use on Tuesday at 4 p.m., both as light workers and light walkers as well.
Yes, even with your family. I mean, your work is profound in the sense that I admire it. I've been looking at similar channels as far as like blending the weird ingredients that you're blending, right? But what you're describing is, I think, I mean, I'll just say right now, as a person who's been at this for 19 years, it's like I always think we have three sales. First, you got to sell you into like doing something for yourself, because most people don't want to do things for themselves. So first, let me talk you into you as a priority. Then let me talk about a product you might like and enjoy. Let me sell you on that product, and also let me sell you that I'm the guy to do it. And so I've always joked it's like three dimensions: Father, Son, Holy Ghost. It's like three levels of marketing just to get them in the door right now. I think more people are awake now and wondering. But what you described to me just now is almost like looking at advertising from an experience in a movie. Almost like you are putting them into a cloud of just wonder. But it sounds like the way you're talking about the things you choose, it seems like you're kind of a spiritual tone. It's almost like you're trying to communicate soul to soul.
Yes, and I think that's why we need to get in that frequency. Something that you said in one pep talk was that frequency is something that we do frequently. So having those tools that help us be in that frequency, and if we're thinking about the step numbers, 11, right? That one I was thinking of it as the one that is here on earth, incarnated, and the one that is connected to source. So why couldn't we create that frequency go faster, like a faster Wi-Fi, so that process of sharing with the tools that we have built here can download all the beauty and the knowledge that we have when we connect to our more spiritual side.
Brilliant. And not only that, but build a firewall between us and the customer that will keep the opposition propaganda out, or at least spoken to, because there's a lot of alternatives and other things out there, or even the fact that we might be called fake or whatever. This is all BS, to be prepared for that, and also to prepare for that sort of thing with the customer in that moment too, I think. So that's my Pluto. So very interesting stuff. How'd you get started on this? I mean, you are a complex person, which I love. And you yourself, your life started, was your family just middle class and your dad worked and that sort of thing? And how do you go from, that person to this self-made entrepreneur inventor?
Well, I come from a traditionally-ish family of two doctors. My mother is a cardiologist and my dad is a surgeon. Most of the people in my family are either lawyers, doctors, or engineers. And I've been kind of a little black sheep. I did study economics because, in that time I was more conditioned. But I always had my mystical side. And from there, I realized that I like patterns and I like understanding behavior. That's what I took from that experience, although it was really hard and it made it difficult for me to connect with my purpose. Then I started practicing yoga. I took all those trainings, and that opened a great connection for me. And through that, and the beauty of the algorithm is that my first training led to you because of different teachers that I've been following. And that's how I then started to connect with astrology and human design, which happened as a coincidence because I was looking for a book called Design Your Life, which is a book on design thinking.
Okay.
And that's
college kind of thing, yeah.
Exactly. Which was all my quest for that sense of purpose. So I was looking for that sense of purpose initially in a more tangible, scientific way, because that's where I come from. And that's something, and it was hard to do it that way because I wanted a job where I could feel that I was making a difference, where I could feel a sense of purpose. So those tools that I still value and I use, and I blend with my more mystical side that I've been developing in the past 5 years, then became really instrumental. And ever since I was a very little girl, I love computers. I love efficiency because I am a projector. So efficiency and systems are some of my favorite words. So when the entire AI revolution happened, I already knew a lot about it because I helped my mom prepare for a conference on AI for medicine. And I was just ready when this came, out for the normal person to use. And one of the things that made the difference is I went to an AI boot camp.
AI what?
AI boot camp.
Boot camp, okay.
Yeah, in Florida. And one of the tasks was to create a project manager assistant. And I was like, my project manager needs to know about the transits. So that's how I started programming my assistants with astrology. And then they became really interesting.
I bet.
And I started testing these with my clients, and that's
Yeah.
the story.
So is it, you start, and then I started experimenting on my clients to see if it worked.
Exactly.
I do the same thing. I'm like, did that land for you? You know, like, did it really land? Oh, good. It's like, well, you have to. I mean, that's how the step system. I had to just try it out. I mean, 5 years of being in horoscopes on YouTube, you know, and just every day, see the comments, and just like sweetening up the algorithms. You just unwrap so much. I don't even know where to start with those things, except that you went to also marketing school too, right? From a marketing program or something, because you seem to be like industry sharp.
Yeah, so once I finished economics, I knew I wasn't going to work at a bank. That was really clear, which was
Right.
one of my main options.
Right.
And it was the beginning of social media as a marketing tool. So I graduated and I had to go get my diploma, and I heard of this little certificate course on social media marketing. And I took it, and ever since, all I've been doing has been marketing for my 9 to 5 version in some way or another.
And marketing. So did you train? So you've worked with the biggest marketing companies in the world. You had mentioned, right? And is that just was that, I'm saying, college degree to right there, or was that just woman on the streets figured it out in?
Yeah, that's been me mostly.
Wow.
Studying a lot. I took that course. I also took trainings in New York. I lived in New York for 8 years. So there's a really great boot camp there from a company called General Assembly. It's very practical. And a long time ago, LinkedIn Learning used to be lynda.com. And I used to take every possible course on that. So a lot of books and a lot of, reading and practicing on my own.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I think this is a very important thing too, in the sense that you didn't have a plan, did you? Because this is an uncharted territory. Technology is unfolding every minute. So, and so you just kind of go with the flow. I didn't know what a serious story would look like because there wasn't cell phones. We were using pagers. I didn't have any idea that I'd be texting in the moment, and what the gravity of that would mean. That you have instant access to help them, change right now in the moment where they need to hear it at the exact time they need to hear it. It's like just technology meeting spiritual intelligence. That's what I'm leaning at here. It's like, so at that stage, you were just exploring your interests, right? And you didn't have a vision for putting them all together, but did you have a sense that it was building to something?
I did, and I think also that's what called me towards the diamond eggs.
Okay.
I knew there was something there, but I couldn't fully see it. And you have helped me see it. So I started with a beta group of some of my little clients that wanted to practice and be part of my experiment. And initially, I was using it on the side for me to be able to create content, but I wasn't thinking of blending all these things. And honestly, it's been this year with everything that it's meant, with all the with all that has happened in Aries, that I finally understood, although it seems very sometimes simple, that I needed to blend all aspects of me. So that's when I started thinking like, okay, I could actually support people doing this, because in a way I was thinking, so the people that usually come to me, my clients, tend to be creatives or mystics, and they don't want to be marketers. They don't want to be content creators.
Yes. No. I mean, it's the worst nightmare. Once you have a product as a light worker who's been pretty much shy your whole life and felt weird about it, now you're going to tell people you do it for a living and share it to your friends. It's kind of hard. It's a moment of real like sweat bead going down your face, and you realize that. So go on, continue. I just want to insert that truth.
Absolutely true. You just are adding to my hypothesis. So when we were working together, and I remember you always telling me, you need to refine more. And I was always like, refine more? I think I got it. It seems so cool. And some of the iterations of refinement led me to understand that I didn't need to teach things in a way that would turn people into marketers or content creators or had a lot of homework, because I'm a nerd. I love homework. I want to go deep. I want to read all the books, but most people don't. And that's okay because you have to be good at your 4% or be really good at your modality. So that's when I thought, like, what can I do with this that would actually help us be more in those states that we like, be more in our spiritual practices, but at the same time, be able to grow our businesses and share from the truest versions of us, the ones that really resonate with us. And it's not us trying to, follow the next trend on Instagram or TikTok, which it's hard and takes time. And sometimes we don't even know. So I was thinking of creating these tools that help us stay in that devotional state with sharing and making sharing a process of our practice.
Wow. I don't know if everyone got all that because there's a lot of pieces to that clock, but the brilliance of what you're doing, and I just bow to your brilliance. You're so genius. You're one of our brightest lights out there. I have to tell you, like as far as the way you're putting down together pieces of things, and and being able to market. I mean, I have the same interest. This is why you and I are like nerds together, because I feel like what you're doing is you've created a product first of all that helps the person bring their authentic self to the table. That's huge. Like because when you're there, you're like, "Hi, I'm Christopher." Like you're just trying all these personalities. You're trying to win people over, and people are like, "Just act like yourself." And we're like, I don't know what that is when I'm on camera. Like, there's so much of me wants to like be accepted, And if I don't have the person to bounce off to energetically, like, what do I be? Because I'm an actor, basically. I love playing all kinds of roles, and so what I find very attractive about your package is that you're bringing in what you feel is the essence of them and helping them stay true to that, and even bring it to their attention, and then helping them market based on that. And you're right, authenticity is key. If you can't be authentic, you're not going to be a light runner that does well, or you're just not. So that's genius there. I can't say enough about it. What so in this process that you have, what does CREA mean? Like I'm not getting that. What does that mean from? What is the story behind that? Because it's interesting.
Yeah, so it comes from the Spanish version of creatrix. So
Okay.
creatriz, that's how you say creatrix in Spanish, creatriz.
Ah,
And after one of our group sessions in the Diamond Egg group, I was in meditation and that word came. I've
ah.
never been really good at naming. I always, like when I've done branding sessions, I tell my clients, naming is not my best skill. But it came, I was like, oh yeah, that's the feeling. But I was feeling it in a very goddess way. And I was like, but I need to land this. I need to ground this. And I wrote it when I was journaling. When I wrote it, I saw two little, like, I don't know how to say this in English, but the
Brackets.
bracket. Yeah,
Hmm.
those brackets. So it is CREA and then TRIZ. TRIZ in Spanish, but particularly where I'm from, in Medellin, Colombia, it means a little bit. So
Oh.
I have been working with nervous system regulation for the longest time. I think I mentioned I'm a projector. I tend to burn out easily. So I was like, oh, so creating little by little because I have big visions and I always wanted them right now. And then boom, burnout and not stay consistent with my project and my business and then feeling disappointed because will I ever be able to do this? So that's the entire concept. A lot of programs, and even the way I was thinking of it when we were talking and you told me it needs another refinement was linear way.
Wax on, wax off. One more time.
And then I thought, like, what if it could be in an iterative evolutionary way that has, like us, all of our cells have all the content and the potential of our DNA. So it's there. What if we could create, and this is one of my favorite words at work, MVP. But then MVP became minimum viable presence
Huh.
instead of minimum viable product. Of course, yes. But you also said in an interview with Sahara Rose you talked about when we are in that resonance, when we get there and we are in alignment or as close to that alignment is when we start attracting those clients and that people that need what we have to offer. So
Yeah.
that made a shift in me. In marketing, they always say, start with the problem, start with your audience, build your avatar. I was like, no, actually, this changes the way we approach marketing. We start with you and you sharing and you turning that process of sharing an iterative process. And it's a lesson for me because, I've worked with companies in marketing. I've helped them grow their social media following. And it's been such a challenge for me, maybe because I knew so many things that I was just trying to copy these formulas that don't resonate with me. And this is recent. Like these conclusions actually come because following my strategy, I received the right invitation. So now I had the energy to synthesize all this that I've been playing with for this year into something that makes sense, but mainly for me, mainly for what I've been trying to do.
Okay, so I have to pause there. I mean, because I think it's important. You're teaching so much in your share. One is that you follow your passion inside, and you don't necessarily have to know where it's going. But also, what you're getting to is like getting to the core version of us, helping us bring that side out of us. And then you're saying the connection to the customer is personal. It's personal and spiritual. And so, utilizing what I said that one's saying, it's like what you be is what comes. So you must be that successful financial person now, energetically for it to come. You must be in the vibration of that moment, and that signature vibration is probably your bell curve of your audience, because it's who you're literally energetically wired to serve already, like by nature of law of attraction. But I also found, just to share with you, it's like as I came into my voice, I had audiences come and go. And I was seeing those attracting in, attracting out, attracting in, attracting out. People saying the same things. Oh my God, this guy's cool too. You're not the same person you were, Chris. It's like, but I was just evolving, and getting more comfortable. So your approach is absolutely genius. In some regards, you could say you've decoded, what influencers are, why influencers work. I mean, influencers are huge, like in TikTok, anywhere else. I mean, it sounds like it's that underneath spiritually, there's something like that going on, but they're just stumbling through it.
Yeah, they just found that authentic voice. And most of them, because I've done this as a research project, every time I find somebody I like, I go to the bottom of their feed and I look at their process and I see how much they changed and they have experimented.
Wow.
However, sometimes for some people like me, I have to say, we want to be at that top. We want to be in the 1 million followers in 2 seconds. And that's what we're sold, because those are the products that were sold. So they are not creating little by little and sustaining that with rhythm. But then you just want those quantum leaps. They don't happen immediately. And even when they do, even because I've had a few one-hit wonders in my account. And then how do I keep that? It's a challenge. And I wanted to touch on something that you just said, which I think is really cool. It's how we change and we have these audiences that come and go. And that's great, because when you're a personal brand, you're going to grow and outgrow your audience, and you're going to have a message at a certain point. I started teaching yoga, and it was a lot about yoga. And then I started shifting into other slashes and trying different things. So probably the people that were more into my first styles, they don't resonate with me anymore. And that's okay too. I think sometimes we're scared about that, but as long as we're staying in that authentic expression and the way we're sharing, we're being magnetic.
Yes, I agree. I mean, magnetic, electric, magnetic, to me, that's thought versus feeling. So the magnetic would be a feeling. And see, I went to film school and, went to 3 film schools, never actually got everything I wanted, because I realized everything I wanted was me doing it the way I want to do it, really. But one thing I learned very early on with everything is that it's a feelings is the hook. Emotion is the hook. People are ultimately choosing from their feelings, ultimately. And that's how they feel in the moment. So as an astrologer, I've been like, but that's the real attraction that's happening. The problem is like the current approach to marketing is just what you said. It's like, 18 to 25, the income at this level, has or hadn't gone to college. I mean, these are really kind of numb and dumb points about people. Like you would never go like, so what's your demographic? We don't, it's just so shallow. And that tells you right there, the arc of potential with advertising, because advertising barely knows who you are. It's basically stereotyping you as a woman, stereotyping you by how much you make, stereotyping you, based on what college you went to, and then Facebook, all they offered was, and we'll spy on them everywhere and figure it out. That was their last, like, we're just going to spy on them, and so Facebook, let's talk to that for a second. Currently, I mean, Google, Facebook, all these online businesses are all based on basically, bringing your personal data together as much as they can, providing a secret profile of you, kind of, like where they're just putting together facts. You may be a number to them, but still it's assembling your life, and then coming to some leads onto how to market to that, wealth of knowledge that you stole. Is that how you understand it? I mean, it might be a negative spin on it. She's a professional. I should never say stole, but you go, how do you understand it to be now?
Well, yeah, and that's an approach, but that approach misses soul. That approach misses the magic that we have. Yeah. So they may have those algorithms and they may be able to spy on us, but they don't have those modalities that we do that can actually create those immediate feelings. So going back a little bit to Unite the Light of last year, one of the things that I think we discussed about is it was fascinating that I could present myself and talk about what's my sun step sign, my moon, and my ascendant, and we are on the same page. This took maybe 3 minutes. We are speaking the same language, and it's a feeling, because we're not like, oh, where did you go to college and what do you do for work? Those things don't connect. And that's why I think I felt those connections so deep while I was there. So I think that makes a great difference. And that's the tool that we might have the opportunity now to take advantage of, also using their tools.
Right, absolutely. Well, that's brilliant setup. Well, Meli, we got to actually feed you. We got to do a commercial real quick, and we come back. I want to know kind of more about how you went from idea to creation, and I'd like to know what you do, what you offer. So we'll be right back.
Whether you have answers or you're seeking answers,
there's something here for everyone.
The love that is felt in the room, it's unmatched.
Talking to all these other people and all these different stages of life.
Energy changing, next level.
It's allowing me to have tears of joy, not the tears of sadness that I've had for so long.
They've all been super inspiring.
I've been brought to tears.
I'm learning how to love myself.
I've never felt so comfortable in my life.
It has been a blast. Highly recommend.
I created Crystal by Crystal because I struggled to hear my inner guidance. Sitting still was never easy for me, but lighting a candle changed everything. Now I combine the energy of fire, crystals, and Reiki to create candles that are more than decor. They are sacred tools for self-care and empowerment. These candles have transformed both my life and my customers' lives, and to deepen your journey, I offer private Reiki sessions. Save with code JOY20 at crystalbycrystal.com. Your transformation starts here.
The world is starting to catch on to human design. But what is it? Through combining astrology, the I Ching, the Vedic chakra system, and the Kabbalah, human design provides you with action-oriented strategies to align with your unique energy.
Are you tired of the same old thing? Register today to get a code for 25% off a human design report or a free report with the purchase of a session.
Welcome to the rest of your life. Welcome to human design.
We're back with Astro Mingle. I am chatting with Meli Garcia, who is going to be a featured presenter tomorrow at Unite the Light. And just look at that commercial I was watching. I was like, oh yeah, you kind of forget. But it's lovely that we caught so many people talking about how they felt. And that's kind of where you left off. You were basically saying that there's a vibration that can be felt in every person, and that you have approached marketing in that way. That's your tool. That's what you're going for. You also use a lot of AI, which kind of shocked me a little bit. Not judgment, but just I don't. For me, I'm afraid of AI learning everything about me and profiling me too. And so I have a little bit of a weird thing with it. It might be a past life on another spaceship or something, but you seem to have tamed that girl or that guy, whatever, that AI. Why are you using it? Why did you get into it? And what do you think its strong points are for what you're doing?
Well, I think if our soul decided to be born in this time, it's because it wanted to have access to these tools.
Mm.
In reality, I first started using it, to be very honest, because I wanted to have more time for my practices and my spiritual business and automate a lot of my 9 to 5 job. That was the first incentive.
Right. Okay.
And then I started discovering that it has a lot more potential, and I started talking to it more and programming it. And then I realized, well, it's not that it's, that movie Hair, that it's learning. It's a different person. It's just basically me talking to myself. And the way that I've programmed it is probably with the more compassionate version of me.
Wow.
So when you say like to talk to ourselves in a pretty way and touch our heart, I think it's helped me with that. So it might look like a really cold thing and the thing that is going to dominate us. When I first went to this boot camp, I had never felt as free and as creative as I did that time. And then I realized, okay, this is an opportunity for me to free myself from repetitive jobs, from overthinking, and just, I also have access to things that I would not have been able to do before. So, like, for example, writing this much content in English would have been a complete challenge, even if I work for American companies. But writing this amount in English and creating different things, it's thanks to this tool. So I think, like, in any time when the knife was created, when a car was created, you can use them for life affirming things or not. So this is our opportunity to also liberate us and our creativity and have tools that can help us stay in that frequency and in that conversation from the version of us that is here incarnated and that more enlightened person or aspect of us, and keep that conversation, that feedback loop more constant, because we don't have to spend all this time in tasks that are distracting us from that conversation or from that frequency.
And so I don't know if everyone's catching that. Well, if I'm the only one catching it, or I'm not, I'm seeing it. The point is that you're helping people stay in themselves. Like you're this tool is like bi-directional. Like it may be to help the world hear the word in your voice, but you're kind of a reflective tool almost in the sense of getting to know yourself. And I find that fascinating too with AI. Now, my little beef with AI just there was actually my excuse to talk about its safety down the line. So I'm dropping bombs now. I feel like we have to put some Pluto step 0 boundaries in it, and so it can be dangerous if we allow it to. However, it looks like it's a brilliant tool indeed. And I think you would choose your AI provider carefully too. I mean, like to understand the backgrounds of your AI. But the fact that you're interfacing with it, I never expected this. Like, I knew we'd have robots in our lifetime. I knew we'd have these big jets and kind of accomplishments. I didn't know human beings would like be building their personality for themselves, like building the perfect best friend or whatever. And I've had friends, by the way, who come over and I'll say like, and that's how it is. It's how you manifest. And they'll be like, hey, ChatGPT, he just told me that he's talking to your ChatGPT like it's his friend, and his friend will come back and be like, yeah, right, girl. No, I'm kidding. But basically, it would be talking about, it comes back like saying, well, he's probably this, he's probably that, so be careful of this, be careful. It's like, holy shit, like this is C-3PO who's spiritually intelligent. Kind of like the potential. It looks amazing. And the fact that you're in the forefront of that, oh, girl, you're experimenting, and you're aware of all the conscious archetypes. You're aware of your human design. So you're taking like total 5D approach in your software development, your business development, everything. I think that's the truth. You are living in that now. And I learned so much just from hearing your products and what they do. Seriously, yeah, very interesting. So going from this perspective, again, I want to reiterate, you're saying that a light worker can come on the world, on the stage, and not have to know who they are per se, not have to worry about how to sell themselves, and can use a process that you're providing to basically stay in the flow, find your dimensional self, and then from there find your clones, right? Or is that it? I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, it's building your army, it's building your assistants. A lot of us start as solopreneurs. It's normal. It's what we need to do. Yeah. But the reality is that we need to delegate things, and we need systems so we can stay consistent. I think that that's the beauty of these tools, of course, keeping them as safely as we can. and from there build a lot of things that you can't imagine. Help you stay there, and even put more fuel into your offerings because you can power them with these tools. So maybe, yeah, there were people like, like Step Astrology and Serious Joy. It's such a blessing to have that text in the right moment that can absolutely shift your day. And I always take this screenshot. I'm like, I can't believe this. Oh my God, this is on point. This is what I needed right now. Are they spying me? Do they know?
Well, that was that was the big epiphany I had. A friend of mine came home and was like, "Dude, I heard this astrologer's making like $1 million a month with text messages." I was like, "Text messages?" And suddenly, just like a light bulb went off. I'm like, "Oh my God!" Because the whole problem I always had is I do a reading for a client. Maybe it's in the next year. I'm like, "So did you do it? Did you do it?" And they're like, I forgot this day. I didn't do that." Because I told them like, "On this, be sure you do this by this." Like this whole outline of like, this will save your life. And they forget after the reading's over, they got off the high and they never listen to it again. And so like, God damn it. Like, but then I realized with text messages, it's like it changed the whole game because it's like I can send them a text right when they need to know something. All they need to do is know it and they will change and that's it. Bingo. It's like I'm with them all the time. And that, so again, I'm proud. Maybe it's, creator wizard meeting wizard. It's like, yeah, how do we accelerate people's ascension?
Because, there's a lot of the things that we do because we enjoy doing them, because we have had the benefits, and then we put in that time. But for other people that maybe don't know about that, or maybe they don't have the time for that specific modality, but they want that benefit, then that's when we can accelerate the process and use this thing. And maybe if they get the result, then they'll be motivated to come back and say, okay, let me take that deeper approach. And that's how, for example, how I started with Serious Joy. First, it was the text messages. That was the main thing that I was, using, the main component that made a great difference for me. Then I got into the pep talks, and now they are a must-have of my day. That's a non-negotiable for me. It helped me. It was this, which is also an artificial intelligence or a system, reminding me of these amazing, beautiful things that we have from, the stars and all the help that the universe is actually trying to give us, but sometimes we're so distracted that we're not seeing it.
That totally. Yeah. And, 5D is here. Everything is here right now. I mean, I've learned that in my spiritual quest that now is the present, right now. Right now, I don't know about you, but I'm getting tons of downloads in the background. Like, I'm going to talk to her about this. I'm going to talk about that. It's like when you're connecting that now, that's when the ideas come. And so, to have someone go, just kind of point, you're like, yoo-hoo, like there's something else in the frame you haven't noticed yet, is so, mind-blowing, when you experience it. And people text me all the time, like, oh my God, like when you hit really hard in that perfect note. So in that sense, I think what ends up happening is there's a trust there. See, here's the thing. Business has lost trust of everyone. No one trusts a brand, no one trusts a company, no one trusts anything anymore. They don't even trust people because it turns out they, do horrible things in basements and stuff, like, apparently. So it's like, so everyone's just like not trusting anyone. And your kind of marketing approach, it's like you're saying, I know you, because if you're here, you're like me. Like building on that knowledge of a law of attraction, just genius, I think.
Yeah, so, I think that's the point of being able to see each other, being mirrors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. So, I guess, first of all, you just tell us real quickly, we'll tell it this way. Let's actually go down the rabbit hole a little bit more. So if someone is starting out as a practitioner, you were a yoga teacher, that must have taught you a lot, actually, too, right? Like, and the practice. I mean, yoga is a kind of thing that is dying for better connection to people. It's a weird bond when you're with them, like not weird in the sense you're like bonded in that room, and then you go away to yourself. So like you experience class after class, people wanting to get better, people leaving. You've done some field research here. What do you think yoga taught you that you're using now, maybe?
Well, first, I still practice every day.
Okay, for the record. Yeah, good.
Non-negotiable as well. Mm-hmm. It helped me connect with my body. It helped me ground me. And I have a mind that is very active. So it helped me take those pauses, and then being able to organize those thoughts. So I always journal after I do my practice and download that in a way that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a path to clarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I agree completely. And in essence, when you come from that, so it sounds like, if I may, and pull out, it's like you finding to get people that comfortable with themselves, was likely the result of yoga. Like it brought you into this, because yoga is really a practice to prepare you to meditate. It's to prepare for meditation. That's why yoga exists, to prepare for meditation. It's not to have like ripped abs or like turn the heat on and sweat with your friends, which has become, but interestingly enough, it's true. When I do yoga, that's the only time I really will actually listen, calm down, and listen to God consciousness. And interesting stuff, that's how you want to approach a customer, ideally, too. That's sort of that state. So the AI part for you, going a little deeper, you've said a lot already, and don't give away the whole show tomorrow, or whatever. But in essence, it's accelerating, it's accelerating your relationship with the customer by accelerating understanding you. Do I understand that correctly? And then being able to talk in your voice, so to speak, that's the goal?
Yeah. Talk in your voice and go out and share it before you're ready, before you feel or you think you're ready. Because usually that concept of being ready comes from comparison. And if you just feel that you're connected with yourself and there's something that you learn, maybe you're starting your yoga teacher training or your Reiki training or tarot, and you don't need to wait to be a certified person to start sharing your learnings, and do it in a way that resonates. And I think sometimes that's one of my challenges, because I either wanted to wait until I had that certificate or sound as if I did, but I knew I didn't. So that's like the famous imposter syndrome coming right there. But if we can have that proximity of what would be the most aligned way for me to communicate, and they're like, okay. And I have to check myself all the time. My assistant, I all the time ask it, is this something a 2-4 projector or a 24-degree Sagittarius would say?
Oh my God. And it knows what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, because I've trained it.
Oh, every night it's like, and step 23, listen to this. It's not, so you like talk to it and program it, and fascinating.
Yeah. So I think that's what has made, such a big difference for me.
Wow. So does it ever teach you or take you somewhere you weren't going to go before?
Actually, yeah. And then I have a special prompt for that, because I am very focused. And when I'm doing something, I want to stay in that lane. Mm-hmm. So I always have a little extra document, and I have a prompt that I have there. It's like, I like this idea. Let's put that in the parking lot. I'm doing this. It's very generous. It always is offering you other things. And it has definitely shown me different angles. Things that, depending on how I program it, because here's the other thing. Well, maybe, should I save this for tomorrow? I'm just going to tease a little bit about it.
Listen to your gut.
Your gut. So when we're working this way, we might be too much in who we are, but we might also be missing our blind spots. So I tried to train it too, to understand my blind spots. So team working. When you're working in a team, you don't want everyone to have the same skills. You want them to have different skills. So that's when I feel there's learning, because I've taught it how to show me other perspectives. So yeah, I'm like your friend that is like, oh yeah, oh, okay, that perspective. It's just different mirrors.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And so you're building kind of a tool that's there to help you, clearly, it sounds like. And I find that right now I use AI for the perspective of what didn't I think of? Because, I can sit there and just have to meditate and like, this, or it could be this, or it could be. And my mind is really good at finding similar vibes. I mean, that's why my genius is like, I can match vibes energetically. I can read the vibe, feel how much they're off, but then go out and do like a Google search of vibes like that. And so I'm really talented, biological, spiritual person, right? Grand Trine in air, things like that. But I'll go and my mind will come up with a lot of things, but I'll go to AI and be like, I'm thinking this, and these things. Tell me everything you think it is. And then usually 4 or 5 suggestions, I was like, Yeah, I never thought about looking in that way or that direction from this perspective. So in a way, it's almost like a completion of your brain. And sometimes like, I see where it's kind of going. I also see too that, look at it. Look at how easy programmable it is and how it's helping you program you back. So, there's potential there. I think needs safe rails, because obviously companies have not cared. I think I heard Google no longer has do no harm, as their mantra. Like they took it away. Like they didn't put it out there anymore or whatever it was. And it's like, yeah, your eyes go up. It's like, what? Well, because they're not sure if they're going to or not at this point. It's, down Gemini, it could be reckless. And I think that to claim that would just become, a hypocrite if someone claimed. In truth, it could be a person who claimed it. But the point is, like, we're embarking on some incredible movement here. And this turns in how to sell stuff.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So someone who's starting at the very beginning, you're really smart in the sense you say, you don't feel like you're ready yet. See, that is a perpetual, yes, I was in that stage for 6 months where I shot all 12 horoscopes every day for 6 months and didn't go live with one of them because I was just getting myself into a point where I felt comfortable with the product. And it was so new. I know there's no one, that's the other thing. When you're creating a new product, nobody has a clue if it's going to work. It's a fair question mark. It's never done before. Shit, who knows? So there's that element too, that you want to release something that someone's never seen before. What do you recommend a person do to set them up for that that moment of discovery? Another one is brand. Some people are held back, like, I don't know what to name it. And that's a huge stopping block.
I have several thoughts about that. So let's start with the last one. Your brand, you were branded when you were born. That's your name. And I had that too. Oh. Because I tried different names, none of them resonated. I was like, this is me. It's my name. Let's go with that. If then something happens later, if this becomes a bigger company that needs a name that goes beyond me, then I'll think about that. Also, I'll remind you that naming is not my strong suit.
Sure, yeah. You said it. Yeah. I beg to differ, but okay.
Yeah. Now a little bit more, but not a natural skill, more a built one.
Something you actually have to work for, you mean? You actually have to work at it?
Exactly.
That's tough, I know. That's been coming so naturally. But yes, you're right. I think that's brilliant too. So for people starting out, this is practical lightwork knowledge, but as a lightworker, your name will always be a side brand, period. Your name. Whether or not it makes another product is another question, and that product may live on its own, separate from you. But by being yourself, you will not shoot yourself in the foot at all. It's brilliant advice because it will be useful, period, that you build up the brand name of your name before you find the real brand. But what should a brand be in your opinion? When we're going after that sort of, with all of your brilliant 5D mind, what is the brand name really? And if I don't want it to be me because I want some privacy or I want some energetic separation from it, or people are thinking thoughts about how much they love me. Telepathically, you're getting all that coming through the airwaves too when people are thinking about you. So what would be your guidelines, let's say, to branding other than a name?
Well, you can have an alter ego name. And I know several people that are big names in marketing industry that don't use their full name, but it sounds like a name and it's maybe their middle name or what they used to call them, or like Beyonce that has an alter ego name. I have one. That's the one that my AI calls me. I keep that for my AI friend and me, and when I want to step into that zone, then I am that name. If I need that separation, which is okay, I have my son in the 11th house. So I'm always like, yeah, you can do it. Try to be there. But I hide sometimes too. So I understand that element as well. You can have an alter ego and create that alter ego of elements of you, but that come from you. So that roots that in your authenticity. It doesn't have to be your full self all the time, raw out there. I think even if you're using your full name, there's an element of you that is never going to be, on stage.
Yes.
And I wanted to just finish with what you're saying, like how to get started. That's when I go back to this concept of MVP. What will be the smallest thing? So for a while, I wanted a podcast. And I didn't know anything about podcasts. I started just recording while I walked my dog for 10 minutes. And I did that for 6 months, but I did it. And then I started sharing that with a group of close friends. No editing, no nothing. And they liked it. Then, yes, I went to a studio to give myself some confidence and I started recording there. Then I went home, and then I did them like downloads with a lot of structure. Now I'm working with one of my clients, who's actually a podcast producer, helped me polish my podcast. But that's I think the concept that I was trying to explain with CREA, grow little by little, grow by stages. And when you have a podcast, you don't need the entire production. You can start with your voice notes and share it with someone, even if it's just one person, because we do need that first feedback loop. And also for me, this is my opinion, it's when it started to create that impact. And we see somebody other than me might benefit from this.
Wow, that's brilliant. And I would say, just to add to that, from my knowledge, that group that gets to hear it, select that group carefully. Like, that group has to be the person who will never be jealous, who's be happy for your success. If you know they kind of get a little jealousy, or they get a little snippy sometimes, and they're jealous, there's people like that. You have to protect yourself not into that portion, because they're looking for ways, unless you're ready for that. And you're right. I mean, how better than that? I started my horoscopes, same thing. I mean, I sent out an email to all the people that worked with me. I was like, hey guys, I'm doing this. And I kind of spun like a TV thing, because we're coming from a TV company. It's like, hey, I'm doing this TV on the web. What do you think? So they came in like thinking about, like, looking at me from the producer's perspective of TV. And they were all really impressed. Like, shit, you got this looks good online. Like, it had not been done. But then, like, a couple of days later, like, you're kind of freaking me out here, bro. Like, because they were not. But the point is, like, when you see someone close to you that their reaction, whether they believe in it or don't believe in it, what their response is, that is like the best testing group you can have, especially if you're trying to do something authentically you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really smart advice.
Go ahead. No. For me, it was when I started doing that, and then some of my friends, sometimes I did it, sometimes I didn't do it if I was busy, and they started asking me like, why haven't you done the audios?
You're like, oh, I'm creating addiction. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, people do. It's funny how that happens very quickly. And I think you're great. I think, because ultimately, let's take a big wide picture here. From what I can see in the future, it's like there's not much to do. Once robots are doing everything for you, and everything's pretty much automated, and we don't even need the workforce we need, the only thing left to be interested in is learning who you are, self-realization, and coaches that help with pieces that you're not good at. Like, I'm not good at marketing. That's why I know you. It's like, so I go to you. So my point is, like, I think almost everyone in the world at one point will be counseling each other, really. Yeah. Just trading information, just back and forth, like neurons of Mother Earth's brain. Yeah. Where do you see everything going? Do you have any predictions about where the industry is going? Would you say your industry is online retail? What would you define your industry as?
Wow. I would say more like soul-aligned online services. Because when I hear the word retail, I don't know.
I saw you like, good TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how those old marketing terms like make people kind of, yeah. And so you said soul-aligned businesses?
Or as you said, online services. Most of my things are online. I've done some live events, yes.
Yeah.
But I love online. I think it gives us way more opportunities. So, yeah.
And okay, terrific. And that makes you, I think, folks, she's amazing to work with, and you better catch her attention while you can, because she's not going to stay having time to talk to us much longer. She's going to be so in demand, I feel. How can someone get started with you right away? Because you've got a really great opportunity today and offer.
Yes. So you can download this free guide that I just created that is called Magnetic, and is a guide that will help you craft or create a super prompt that will help you sound like you and write like you. And if you don't want to go through the full guide, I also created a little GPT assistant that will take you 10-15 minutes, maximum, to get that super prompt. And just by reading it, you start learning about this voice, this imprint that you leave, and how you can make that a magnetic thing, your communication that comes from that feeling of your most authentic self. That is the first step for me. And then all the other tools that I build are always based on that seed.
Brilliant. And then after that, they can study with you. Is that correct? I mean, if something goes further than that, if possible?
Yeah. So I'm offering workshops. So you can use that blueprint. And I really want, that's one of my goals, to help our industry to get a little bit more comfortable with technology and build and learn how to build these assistants, so you have systems that help you be more in that creative and spiritual self, so we can continue to coach each other, to consult with each other. And I know that some people are not good, or they don't prefer groups, so I also created something that I used to, or I still consult with companies, which is a brand sprint. But this one is very special because it's based on your human design and your astrology, that you can do in 2 hours, and in less than 24 hours start sharing and building that trust, not only from that knowledge of yourself, but also from that feedback that you're now getting.
Excuse me. That's brilliant. And so helping the authentic you come out, helping you find the voice. She's saying like in 4 hours, 2 days, like, yeah, you're going to have 100 million marketers out there. Watch it. What you're doing, but the work you're doing is absolutely brilliant. I'm super excited to see you tomorrow and see what you present and how you present it deeper. And I'm so grateful that you're in my life. You're so awesome.
Thank you. I'm very grateful that I've met you. It's
Likewise.
changed my life.
And rarely does a person, when I go, hey, I've thought of something brilliant, you're like, yeah, but you think of this? She just took it somewhere else. Like, I just pitched you. So it's really nice to play racquetball with 5D genius energy. So thank you. Thanks for being you, and thank you for being a part of what we do here too. We really appreciate it. And I'll be promoting you like crazy once it's all up. So don't worry. Everyone's gonna know about it. Well, thank you, Meli. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. Every conversation we have is so enriching for me.
Me too. It's like my meeting of the wizards, and it's rare that you can think of people thinking on those terms, but it's true. And you are wizarding, the 5D reality from a very compassionate spiritual self. So the alignment with you and soul in your progress, to me, says it's not heading for anything dark. It can't be used for the dark. This is a tool for light workers to just shine brighter. And this is, I think, just a little sneak peek of the brilliance we're about to see from you and from the world. Yeah. So.
Yes. And that'll make me very excited.
Love to still serve it. I'll have to come to Colombia next. I owe a trip to you now. That'll be fun. We'll be having a good time. Okay, dear. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Yay. Well, I'm so grateful because Meli is, as you can tell, a very together, quiet, but very intelligent, very strong. Her voice, and it's like waiting for the right time to get her out to share her with you. But having had the pleasure of working with her privately, coaching, and just seeing someone who's running down the same lines that I've always been passionate about, which is serious joy. In fact, I think about hearing her just now. It's like serious joy was a feeling I want to share with people. It's this feeling that I get, I can identify that feeling. I love that feeling. If I find that serious joy feeling in my heart, I want to live it for the rest of my life. And so I was trying to find a brand that was like to describe something that I felt that I want to share with others. So I did that intuitively. I'm really happy to see that she's wise and she's building tools around that kind of thing, like sharing feelings, sharing ideas, and sharing yourself. Brilliant, brilliant people. I think we're seeing some incredible wizards coming on the scene, folks, in this next coming months and years and everything. I mean, Astro Mingle is going to do our best to bring these people in the studio, have some great conversations, because there's so much exciting things ahead when you see technology and spirituality starting to merge. Well, that's all we have for this week. I'll be back next week, probably recovered, I hope. I hope to see you at Unite the Light. If you're there tomorrow, come on up and say hello. Get a selfie with me. It'll be a great time. And if you can't be there, don't feel left out. You can still get a streaming ticket. And we're, really affordable. You sign up for Serious Joy, you get a huge discount. So for $4, you get, $41 off. But there's really no excuse. We need to come together, guys. I don't know if you understand. If we don't team up now, if you want access to the things like Meli, you want access to the brilliant inventions happening, you want access to other people who know how to do it. And as you've heard at least twice in the last couple of days, they got their ideas at Unite the Light, and then it came back. So when we come together like this, even if it's digitally, like you just did, and you come in through the watching, that connection, that energy, see, she's talking to you. So we're tapping into something there that's not usually available from what we can tell. And that inspires you and shapes you. So she really expressed the reasons why you need to go to Unite the Light, and you need to go while it's live so you can feel it live. All right, friends, that's all we have for this week. I'll be back next week. I love you. Live, love, be. The Unite the Light Lightworker Summit is reborn in 2025, May 17th to the 19th, reincarnating in Nashville, Tennessee, the capital of country music life. If you live to make the world a better place, we invite you to gather and co-create for 2 days. Day 1, meet curated, heartfelt influencers sharing strategies and innovation. Day 2 calls for conscious conversations. Lightworker power panelists discuss industry urgent topics. And for the first time, you requested, we co-created a third day, a 36-hour, ultra-private, closed-door, Whisper Summit. We call it Afterglow, where 2 or more gather, featuring high wattage leaders of light who share unpublished career advice and trade secrets. It all takes place in the luxurious Gaylord Opryland Hotel, where you may enjoy a full spa, poolside drinks, and tasty dining. And don't miss our Honky Tonk Sumper and Step Networking event happening Saturday night. Wear cowboy attire, feast, and learn astro secrets about you and cosmic allies. Consider this an invitation. Let us celebrate our ascension at the brightest gathering of love in the world. Ticket sales are open now at unitethelight.love. That's unitethelight.love.
Thank you.